one of their precious gems for an elusive item that's been on their wish list. I know you don't part with any of your pieces.
You know, I never have.
Will there be a trade? It's the collector's call. Today I'm visiting movie costume collector James Azriel, who has 3,000 and counting costumes and props from star-studded films.
Welcome to addiction. I've been collecting all my life. I kept my first Star Wars figure in baggage and still have it. So it just progressed, and it's been nonstop since.
James is joined by his friend Brad, who helps him restore some of these one-of-a-kind pieces to their original beauty.
I went to art school. You have to kind of know your materials, and then knowing how to preserve certain things, what materials react, don't react with things. It all kind of lends itself into helping restoring these props.
I read to ask what this thing cost.
I've brought along movie prop appraiser and fellow collector Mark, who has known James for years. He'll help assess the value of James's collection.
I started in 1988. My first item I ever purchased was a Doctor Who prop. That was when I was in England, and I moved here in 1995. Unfortunately, I probably remember more about stupid props now than I do about almost anything in the world. But this is from 32 years of looking at props and going to studios and remembering these auctions.
Mark has also brought an item of his own in hopes of making a trade with James. The only catch? James has never sold or traded one of his collectibles before.
I've got a 20-year track record here, so let's see what happens.
Will Mark tempt him into breaking his lifelong streak? In the end, it's the collector's call.
Wow.
James, I'm so excited. These costumes, I recognize so many of them. How did you get started collecting costumes?
Well, I've been collecting since I was probably 5.
Costumes or just in general?
Just in general. I started with Star Wars.
Oh, of course.
And then Star Wars leads down the rabbit hole.
James got a lot of stuff. Every time I go over there, I'm finding new things. Big movies, little movies. They could be old, new, whatever it is. He's always finding something.
Now, you brought your friend Brad.
This is Brad.
Costume guy, prop guy.
I collect a little bit.
He does the restoration.
Oh, well, that's an important job if we're going to pass it on to the next generation.
Absolutely.
What a great sidekick friend to have. Somebody who can really turn James's prized possessions into invaluable possessions. Perfect segue to introduce our expert, Mark. Now, you've been collecting props, costumes, similar things or different?
I mostly do wardrobe. I have props as well, but I've just always loved how wardrobe is constructed.
How big is your collection?
Probably about 300 to 400 costumes right now.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just a keeper of the costume for a time, and I like to know that that thing will be around 100
Oh,
years
well,
from
that
now.
makes sense. That's wonderful. So let's move on to the costumes, please. Talk to us about this.
This is a Terminator, the T-1000 in particular, from Terminator 2.
I've never seen any of the Terminator movies.
Really?
I'm such a girly girl. You're going to have to just teach me about all of these costumes.
Well, Robert Patrick was a liquid metal Terminator. This is his costume.
We know from screen matching, which is where you basically split screening them. The Terminator is coming towards the elevator, and Arnold Schwarzenegger shoots it. We can directly attribute those two splashes on the side to that scene. They match. We can say that's the costume from that moment.
One of my favorite things with the movie props is pulling back the curtain and showing how these things work.
Where did you find this?
In an auction.
What kind of auctions do you go to?
I try to go to as few as possible. I use people like Mark to hunt and find pieces for me. He finds stuff and goes, "Hey, James, well, I've got some things you've got to say."
So, Brad, have you seen T2? Are you a Terminator fan?
That's probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
So you're the kind of person who walked in here and thought, oh, I know that costume.
Oh, yeah. Immediately. I knew exactly where it was from.
Okay. So, James, how much did you pay for it?
You're going to hear this a lot from me. The value of these things is our attachments to them.
You're appreciating them
Yes.
before they appreciate.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But it was probably about $2,000.
And did they get a good deal?
I would place it in around the $8,000 to $10,000.
Wow.
I think Mark's value on this is pretty dead on.
So one costume I certainly recognize, Spider-Man! From which Spider-Man movie is this one?
It's an interesting story on that. It's from the movie that never was.
Okay, I didn't know there was such a thing.
Right. It dates back to 1979 Japan. It's the Toei television series, so
Okay.
it's Japanese Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is near and dear to my heart. Not because I'm a big action figure fan, but my kids are. So would you say the Spider-Man costume would be one of the holy grail costumes for costume collectors?
Well, I was very excited about this because being a child of the 70s and the 80s, Canon Films was very big at that time. And they produced a poster of the film to get financing before the movie was shot. In this case, this is the Spider-Man from the Canon movie poster with the Spider-Man classic logo off the comic. And I remember seeing that in a magazine feature, and then years later when James found this, I was just so excited because lo and behold, there it is, all the way from overseas and in America. I distinctly recall seeing that ad at the time, and to see it in the flesh after all these years, just amazing.
So a costume that's simply on a poster is still very valuable because it does have that connection.
It's the history of that Canon film. That was 1986. Tom Cruise was their hopeful for Spider-Man before he blew up in his film career.
Can you tell me how much you paid?
It was around $2,000.
So is $2,000 a good deal?
Well, here's again an example of an item. When you find it, you know a little about the history, but not much. You start building up the fact that it was from Japanese Spider-Man. You start building up the fact that it was from the Canon post. You start building into the fact that this is more than it originally was. So that means the price goes up. So in the right market, I think that would be worth anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000.
My spidey sense says Mark was right on that one.
Coming up, James lets me wear the jacket that my all-time celebrity crush wore in an iconic film. Oh, yeah. And later, costume collector James appraised today. Plus, I brought appraiser and fellow movie prop collector Mark to put a price on James's collection. Mark is hoping to entice James to make a trade. It's a tall order, though, considering James has never parted ways with any of his costumes. But first, there's more items from the silver screen to see. Okay, James, there are many famous leather jackets in movies. From which movie is this?
I understand you like dentists,
Not in general, no.
even when they're played by Steve Martin.
Oh, I like gardeners, plumbers, tailors, if they're played by Steve Martin. He's my celebrity crush.
This is a Steve Martin
No.
jacket.
Wait. Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
I've seen Little Shop of Horrors, and I only saw it for Steve Martin because it's just not the genre that I typically like. But I will see anything that Steve Martin is in. Can I touch it?
You can. This is what he wore when he's riding his motorcycle and singing about poisoning guppies.
I poisoned guppies when I was done.
It's one of the most iconic scenes of 80s musicals, the deranged dentist singing on a motorcycle. We all memorized that song.
Where did you get this?
This was a auction.
How much you pay for that?
That's my line. I'll just tell you how much it's worth. How about that? Just
yes,
trade jobs
please.
for a minute. Because I think it's worth millions since
See?
it has Steve's sweat on it.
You have good taste.
I like her estimates better.
Sure.
So how much did you pay for it?
About $2,300.
$2,300? I'm saying that's a good deal. What do you think?
4,000 to 6,000, I think.
That is very cool.
Would you like to try it on?
Could I?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. This would be like the closest I could be to Steve Martin. I'm going to have his arms around me. He's going to be holding me and hugging me and keeping me safe and warm. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. This feels right. I'll be a dentist. Okay, so what do you have for me?
It's RoboCop's gun from RoboCop 2. This one in particular was used for an FX scene, and I defer you to the expert on this one because he did all the research and discovered this.
Yeah, I'm very proud of this one. This came from an antiques dealer, and one of the people who worked on RoboCop was the head of the Robo shop where they made all the RoboCop parts. And after the gentleman passed, this whole bunch of stuff was donated by the family to this auction. So I found all these pieces of RoboCop and this gun. And the nice thing about it was there was a VHS videotape, and it had this very gun and what we call a gag, which is an effect shot, in that video that we were able to play James and show him. And what they did is they actually had a piece of fishing wire, and the effects team are in this video, and they're practicing using this gun for that effect shot. The gag itself was of RoboCop holding this gun, and then the gun is shot out of his hand, and then it goes spinning across the room. I was very happy to sell this to James and do all the authenticity on it, and this is one of the original RoboCop 2 guns that was used in the production.
Wow. Can I feel it?
Absolutely.
It's actually surprisingly heavy. You bought it from a collection, so would it be hard to value like what you paid for it?
I think overall James paid about a couple of $1,000 for it.
That seems like a lot of money for basically an airsoft gun that's been retrofitted to be
When you say it like that,
It is. It does. But when you say this is the gun on that video, then things become a little bit different. Because that is now a piece of the production.
Right.
There have been very few of the RoboCop props ever come up to market. And we've got it on set being used by the visual effects people in that video, so it gives it instant authenticity.
So how much would it be worth now?
RoboCop collector who wanted a definite screen-used gun used in the production, $4,000 to $6,000.
it's not about the money, it's about our connection to him, and it's our connection that is the true value.
I recognize this face, but tell me, for where do I recognize it?
This is Barf, played by John Candy. It's the Chewbacca of Spaceballs. So he's the sidekick, he's just Barf, and it's John Candy.
He's a mock, half man, half dog. He's his own best friend.
Did you go looking for it, or did you stumble across it?
It stumbled into my hand.
There's lots to the Barf costume.
There is. This obviously is the life cast of John Candy, the appliance that he wore on his face, and then his ears, which are in
Oh, so you
box
have the
here.
ears, and you got the tail down here, and
The
how?
tail, yes.
And what is the apparatus? Why does it need an apparatus?
There's a hole in the back of the suit
Okay.
where the tail came through, so he wore this under it.
This one bounces.
As he moves.
Okay.
And that's his smashed foot from a pivotal scene in the movie. Word Barf gets stepped on. Then he's bouncing around.
It's a great piece, really. And what the plan is, I believe, is to put it all together and have a John Candy display made up.
Did you pay for it?
I did.
Are you going to tell us how much?
We'll say around 3,000.
Okay.
All in all, in its current state now, you're around about 8,000 to 10,000 on a good day.
Good deal. And where will you display this?
I actually have a horror and sci-fi themed bakery called Spooky Swirls.
Really? Where is that?
It's in Chandler, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. Our ambiance is we exhibit the screen-used movie props.
That is fabulous.
Yeah.
I am around that area often. I will definitely come visit.
Well, we can actually save you some time right now, although we'd love to have you.
Okay.
Our chefs, Chris and Lola, made this
No, look at
gluten-free
this.
cookie for you.
Oh my goodness. This is fabulous. Thank you so much. How fun. Up next, we've got a surprise for James from someone whose items are in his collection. See if you recognize his voice.
Hey, James, congratulations.
And later, will James take Mark's trade and part with one of his movie costumes for the first time ever?
I mean, if you was gonna bust anything out,
He did well, huh? Movie prop appraiser Mark is valuing James Azrael's movie costume collection. And he's brought an item of his own to trade in hopes that James will decide to part with one of his collectibles for the first time ever. But first, more one-of-a-kind Hollywood treasures. All right, more weapons. Ah! Tell me about this one.
well, this is kind of the epitome of iconic
Okay.
horror weapon. This is Jason's machete from Friday the 13th Part 7. The hockey
About the
mask.
hockey mask. Yes.
This is one of the rare actual metal machetes.
What makes it so rare?
Most of them are stunts.
Okay.
They're resin and foam and safe, if you
Right.
will. They didn't take as many precautions and whatnot. The 80s were a different time, though.
Do you know how many metal machetes from this film are floating around out there?
I believe I know of one other.
So, very rare piece,
Yeah.
very special piece.
This still has some of the mud caked onto
Certainly, I'm
it.
glad you didn't say blood. So, how much did you pay for it?
I want to say it was about $2,500.
So, how much would it be worth if he were to ever want to sell this?
Well, when you're a collector, you want iconic things. So Chucky, you'd have the puppet. Nightmare on Elm Street, you'd have the glove. And then with this, obviously, Jason is the machete. Because these are particularly rare, you don't tend to see them on the market very often. People have them and covet them, but they just do not want to sell them. So that's easily, even on the low end, between $8,000 and $10,000.
Actually, we reached out to a friend to see if he would just give you a little message, see if you recognize his voice.
Hey, James.
That's Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder here. Congratulations on having your collection on Collector's Call. I try to limit the amount of items, such as machetes, that I use in a film, because then it makes each one that I did use more valuable. So the fact that you have machetes, whether they're stunt machete or not, that's a pretty good thing. But anyway, good talking to you, and hope to see you soon.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Kane.
And I think James was surprised, and probably a little touched that he went out of his way to do that because he didn't have to.
Kane Hodder just verified my stuff.
So I know we've only seen probably a fraction, like 10% of what you have?
Maybe.
Maybe even that. Today we saw the T-1000 costume from Terminator 2, the Japanese Spider-Man suit, Steve Martin's jacket from Little Shop of Horrors, the RoboCop gun, John Candy's Spaceballs suit, and Jason's machete from Friday the 13th. Now, thankfully, your pal here knows a lot of your other collections, but based on what we've seen today, how much would you say James' collection is worth?
Well, that's putting me on the edge there, because even I only know about 60% of it. But, you know, you're easily looking at a collection that's worth between $200,000 and $300,000, of course.
Does that surprise you?
No, I keep decent tallies.
But I know that's priceless to you.
Right. It's nice to hear someone else say it.
Now, we always ask our expert to bring an item that he has an inkling you might be coveting in hopes that you will be able to make a trade for something he has his eye on. So, what did you bring for us to entice your pal?
Well, I know James very well, and he's very much someone who likes iconic horror stuff. So, recently I picked up an item from the movie Silent Hill.
And are you familiar with this movie?
I am very familiar.
Is it one of your favorites?
It is, yes.
Okay,
And
you're
you
on the right
need
track.
iconic items for the collection. You need things that anybody could see and instantly know what it is. So here we have Pyramid Head.
Wow.
And this is
That's a head?
the main villain from Silent Hill. It's got like a helmet inside, so you wear it on your head.
I have no idea what that is. Is it a prop? Is it a set design? Did it fall off a truck somewhere? What is that? And why would you want it? And is he really expecting to get a trade for that?
This is the rubber head, and the reason this is so special is this was the one that was used so much in the film.
Ooh, what do you think?
I mean, if he was going to bust anything out.
He did well, huh?
But I don't know what he wants.
Yeah, cool. Right now you're
Let's
playing it
just slow
cool.
down.
Play it
Let's
cool.
slow down.
That's true. So sorry. Well, I like a pyramid head.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, okay. So, like, what do you have your eye on?
But the thing to own would be Judge Dredd's helmet.
And do you have Judge Dredd?
I have Sylvester Stallone's stunt doubles, Judge Dredd helmet.
And is that what you want?
I wouldn't say no.
Oh, he's playing it cool too here.
Right here.
Ooh. From what I've heard, that helmet would not fit Sylvester Stallone's head. Maybe the stunt double has less of an ego. So is this something you're considering? Because I know you don't part with any of your pieces.
You know, I never have.
Up next on Collector's Call, James is on the edge of his seat. Will Mark's trade proposal have a special effect on him? Or will he turn it down?
I've never sold anything.
Our expert Mark has just offered Collector James his pyramid head from the horror movie Silent Hill in exchange for a stunt double helmet from the Sylvester Stallone film Judge Dredd.
This is tough.
This is tough.
I mean, like I said, I've never sold anything.
Right. So is this something you're considering? Because I know you don't part with any of your pieces.
You know, I never have, but honestly, if it was anybody except Mark, I think I have to do this one.
So do we have a trade?
I think we do. Yes.
Hooray! Well, let us trade away.
Let's make the trade. Oh man, that is heavy.
I know, Mark, I did not see this coming. If anyone was going to figure me out, it was going to be Mark, and he did. This was just an unbelievable find.
I wish everyone could experience what these three guys are doing. They are living their passion, they are making money from their passion, and they're getting to do it with friends who share the same passion.
I want you to try and authenticate something.
Okay.
Here is
A
a
script?
script.
Oh my gosh, this is bringing back such memories. Would it be more valuable if I signed it?
I think it would be.
Okay.
And I have one more.
Oh, I know this. We would give cast gifts at Christmas, and Charlotte Ray, this is a cast gift that she gave to all of us. Christmas of 1980. This is a very special piece because only cast and crew have this.
Yeah. Would you like this one?
Oh, I would love this.
I'd like you to have it.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so thrilling to be able to see that, and then when he offered for me to keep it, I took a picture and sent it immediately to all my kids.